Buenos dias. Good morning. I am Frank Fernandez, and I have the great honor of serving as the founding dean for the UTRGV School of Medicine. And I want to welcome you and all the guests that are here, and I see our great supporter and wonderful regent, Regent Aliceda, is here with us today, and I'm grateful for his support and his being here with us for this very special announcement. So thank you for coming. And of course, Mr. Garza, who's here with us today as well. Did I meet him? So it really is a phenomenal day today for the Rio Grande Valley as well as for the university. Together, we are transforming the health in our region, and all in our community will lead healthier and longer lives because of it. And that so many of you have joined us today serves to remind us all how important this work is. The University of Texas Rio Grande Valley is committed to actively raising the quality of life for our community by transforming how medicine is delivered today. So we want absolutely everyone to be able to achieve their full potential by connecting science with their health. Our promise is to make that possible. And today we're taking yet another step to make that promise a reality. Our task is to bring leading-edge research right to the doorstep of the residents in the Valley. The UTRGV vision of building a genetics initiative and its determination to become a key player in the biomedical revolution are incredibly powerful incentives for UTRGV to grow. So for physicians and patients to make more knowledgeable decisions in the era of personalized medicine, they have to be able to access and understand complex genetic basis of health, disease, and medicine. Working together, researchers, clinicians have the expertise, experience, leadership, and medical and scientific connections to be the definitive source of information on the role of genetics in human health and disease. So whether it's researching the secrets of deadly diseases or teaching students, for that matter, how to use technology to make better appraisals and diagnoses, or make use of the technology in the service of their learning, UTRGV will continuously push the boundaries of medicine forward. In due time, all of these research opportunities will help to enhance patient care and expanded services to everyone in our community. But today is a glorious day, and I have gone, as most of you know, from being excited back in February to 6 months later being here on your campus, our campus, for the groundbreaking and reaching the level of exhilaration. So today I come to you with joyful exuberance. People have been texting me different words that begin with E, as you can tell, on the announcement we have for you today. So joining me today for this special announcement is a special advisor and good friend of the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, Dr. Ken Shine, a great supporter of the university, Executive Vice Chancellor Dr. Pedro Reyes. I think I'm going to skip somebody. Yes, I am going to skip somebody. I wanted to see the seating arrangement. To the man that's affectionately known in my house, really just my wife and I, as El Jefe, the founding president of the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, Dr. Guy Bailey. And then the reason that we are all here for, which is Dr. Sarah Williams-Blangero as the founding director of the South Texas Diabetes and Obesity Institute. But you'll notice that the person to my left is the person that I have the great honor, really, who needs no introduction, but I am to introduce him today. Dr. Francisco Fernandez has served as Chancellor of the University of Texas for nearly 6 years. And in that time, he has worked with UT presidents and the Board of Regents to develop a number of programs and initiatives that have greatly strengthened higher education for all the people in the state, including the creation of not one, but 2 medical schools, one in Austin and the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley School of Medicine. And I think you could safely say that you know, although when you read all of his achievements, is anybody here from microbiology or bacteriology? You know that there's a thing in the old days in pathology where you got your report back and it said TNTC. Does anybody know what that means? Too numerous to count. The culture was just overgrown, and that is exactly what has happened. And I know that he will be remembered for establishing UTRGV to give hope and opportunity to tens of thousands of students in this area. His vision and courage and commitment to the Rio Grande Valley are unsurpassed. And all of you know that sadly at the end of this year, he will step down as Chancellor to return not to his first love. He will be with his first love, Graciela, okay? He will return to his second love, which is to transplant surgery. And we will miss him and all of his efforts and his tireless work on our behalf. So please join me in welcoming Chancellor Francisco Fernandez to the Valley.
Well, thank you very much, Dean Fernandez. And I guess I thought of another E word, which is you look ebullient.
I thought he was going to say bulimic.
But let me just convey to all of you, it always feels like home when I come here to see individuals just at first glance like David Oliveira or President Rodriguez or our great regent Ernie Aliceda or Veronica. You know, this has really been an effort that has really been absolute teamwork. And that's when one gets the greatest joy, when everyone is a part of establishing something great. So, as you've stated, Dean Fernandez, this is a great day for all of us who've been involved with establishing and opening the doors of the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley and its fabulous School of Medicine. That follows the letter E, F, fabulous. It is a great day for the healthcare and the biomedical research community here in the Valley, but now for many years to come. It is a great day for the people of the Rio Grande Valley, especially those whose lives will be improved and saved by the research conducted by the South Texas Diabetes and Obesity Institute. It is a great day for our friends and family members and neighbors who are at high risk of getting type 2 diabetes, and for those who want to find the most current medical treatments for their loved ones suffering from a variety of metabolic, biologic disorders. There are systemic health issues afflicting Valley residents, including a disproportionate rate of chronic and infectious diseases. The research conducted by this institute will be crucial to improving the health and the well-being of this region. So consider these challenges, which are sadly facts, and facts that need to be changed over time as a result of this research and a result of this great university and medical school. The major populated metropolitan areas of the Rio Grande Valley are among the most obese in the country. Nearly 10% of adults in Texas have been diagnosed with diabetes, but the rate of diabetes in the Rio Grande Valley is much higher. 28% in this region, for example. And that does not include those who have type 2 diabetes that have been undiagnosed. As a pediatric surgeon, I still recall like it was yesterday, taking care of so many children who already had elevated hemoglobin A1C levels, which meant they were at extremely high risk of having diabetes as their blood sugars were already elevated. Stark County has one of the highest prevalence rates of type 2 diabetes in the entire country and the highest diabetes death rate in Texas. I remember so very well watching my first 2 operations in Stark County under the guidance of Dr. Mario Ramirez and my uncle, Leonidas Cigarron. The 2 operations were, the first was bringing a newborn into this wonderful world of the Rio Grande Valley because it was a cesarean section. I almost passed out. But after I recovered from that, I saw my second operation, which was unfortunately an amputation of a patient who had diabetes and as a result of that lost his circulation in his lower extremity. A full 50% of adults over the age of 35 in Stark County either have diabetes themselves or have a close relative with this disease, which means they are at very high risk of getting diabetes themselves. In my own family, in Laredo, Texas, there are members of my family who have type 2 diabetes, so I very well know that I'm at risk. And it's a constant personal effort for me to try to keep my weight down and eat the right things because the food is so delicious here in this part of the United States. As a transplant surgeon, as Dean Fernandez stated, I'll be going back to do transplant surgery beginning in January. But I've already done, over my career as a transplant surgeon, so many transplants that are a direct result of diabetes. For example, many kidney transplants that we do, the leading cause of transplantation in this region of the United States is kidney disease or kidney failure as a result of diabetes. And also as a liver transplant surgeon, many transplants that we do are a result of what we call a fatty liver, which is a result of metabolic disease. So I'm enormously pleased that Dr. Sarah Williams-Blangero and her team are coming to the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. They will bring substantially federally funded research and expertise in the genetics of many disorders, not only diabetes, but also heart disease, infectious diseases, and other chronic inflammatory diseases that afflict so many patients in the United States of America. They will do their research across the entire Rio Grande Valley, and they will interact with many scientists, public health and community programs, not only in the Valley, but in Texas, and also because of Dr. Blangero's networks throughout the world. It's truly an international program. It will be collaborative, and it will combat diseases and improve health in our vulnerable region. I recall for the very first time when I first met Dr. Blangero and her wonderful husband when I was president of the Health Science Center at San Antonio, and I visited her lab. And I visited the High Performance Computing Center that her husband directs. And I recall then, wouldn't it be wonderful to recruit the Blangeros to the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio? Well, never did I imagine that this wonderful group of fantastic scientists and educators would be at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. How things change. And how things changed just in a few months, Dean Fernandez, when we were here celebrating your arrival and the arrival of your beautiful wife, and just literally within 6 months we're celebrating the recruitment of one of the great scientific groups in our nation. Dr. Williams-Blangero and her team and the new South Texas Diabetes and Obesity Institute will have a tremendous impact on the region of this great state. We thank her for accepting this challenge, and we welcome her and the researchers and the teachers and staff members who are coming to the Valley to save lives and improve the overall health of this beautiful but underserved part of Texas. I also recall, like it was yesterday, interviewing Dr. Williams-Blangero in my office in Austin and asking her why, what attracts you to the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, especially when we don't yet have a president, we don't have a medical students, we don't have a dean of the medical school. Why are you interested? Because you obviously knew she was courageous and unyielding in her efforts of what she was doing. And her answer was it was so simple and yet so powerful. And it was because the type of research that we do, especially in metabolic diseases and diabetes, the region that needs this work the most is actually in the Rio Grande Valley. So if we are truly devoting our lives to do research to improve the lives of others, then we really ought to be, where there is an epicenter that we can have a significant impact. And so that was her message. It just resonated with me, and it resonated with her team. I think the other aspect that we need to comment upon is how this critical mass of investigators and scientists is also going to help the medical school. Directly involved in the education of our medical students, and they will be directly involved in also educating our undergraduate students of UTRGV. So this is not only a win for science and for our population, it's a win for UTRGV and its School of Medicine. So thank you very much. Hefe? It's the Hefe's turn.
We remember as you transition back to surgery, the last time you were here, we gave you your faculty appointment here too.
That's right.
So we consider you part of our faculty and always will, and we'll always be grateful for everything you've done.
Can I put that on my CV?
You can. You absolutely can. As we build a university, a valley-wide university, I'm particularly pleased that we have the head of the Brownsville Chamber of Commerce here today, Maria Hall. So, hey, that's truly cross-valley collaboration. So, that's terrific. It's interesting. I've often wondered how it would feel to win the lottery. I think I know. We just did. This is one of the biggest things that will ever happen to this university. If you're a university president, what's happening today is winning the lottery. This will be a red letter date as the history of the new institution is written, one that we'll go back to many times and say, yeah, a lot of that started right here. It's very difficult to overestimate the impact that Dr. Williams-Blangero and her research team will have on this institution. If you think about what we try to do when we hire faculty, we want people who teach and who engage with students, and they will be. They'll be engaged with our students with cutting edge, new things in the classroom. We want people who are great researchers. Remember, this new university will move into the emerging research university category. We hope in just a few years they'll be a cornerstone of this. With their coming here, our research expenditures will double immediately. Think about that. Not only that, not only is it the research they do, but the partnerships they'll form with our faculty who are already here. And there'll be many partnerships with existing faculty with this research team. Furthermore, they will attract further researchers. I'll have to tell you, I've already gotten at least one CV. When word of this kind of leaked out, or rumors of it leaked out, I got a CV from a faculty member elsewhere saying, I do ocular research with people who've had diabetes. I want to be there. And you'll see a lot of this happening. So they're not only a cornerstone for our research, but they will be something we'll build on and develop partnerships with. Finally, you want faculty members who serve their communities and their institutions. What better service than attacking the most prevalent, most disease in the valley? Think about what they're doing. This is really a red letter day in the history of our institution. Now, when you recruit one faculty member, that can be pretty complicated. When you recruit a research team of 22, that is really complicated. Do you have an E word for that? I don't know if you do or not. But I want to publicly congratulate Dean Fernandez for all of his work. He has been unbelievable in getting this recruitment done. One of the most complex recruitments I've ever seen and ever witnessed, and he did a terrific job with this. He is to be congratulated. You couldn't have a better partner to work with as well. And since this recruitment is really his work, I'm going to let him do the honor of the introduction of Dr. Williams-Blangero.
Thank you, Jefe. So you have read, you will see many of the ways in which Sarah Williams-Blangero has distinguished herself as a scientist. And she rapidly, shortly after her training, when she arrived at the Texas Biomedical Research Institute, was on the ascending limb of her trajectory of her career, and in a short period of time reached the level of scientist, equivalent to professor, at the Institute. And within 4 short years of that occurring, she became the director and chair of the Department of Genetics there. And will do that until Thursday of this week. And I'm delighted that this week she will be starting. Dr. Williams-Blangero got her bachelor's and her master's and her Ph.D. in biological anthropology. And there's no question in my mind, when you read through her CV, not just the quality of her publications, but you know, there's a period of time when people look at who's the first author. And there's a period in time when you look at who's the last author, because those were the individuals that led that effort. And with all else that she does administratively, running her lab and so on, 61% of her publications were, of her hundreds of publications, were in those categories. That means that not only can she juggle like the best of us, but she is enormously productive. And these are all top-rated journals in the country. So I have no doubt and no question in my mind that Dr. Williams-Blangero is the right person to take us to the next level, not just for the health of our community, but for creating the true base from which we will take that next step. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Williams-Blangero.
Well, I think you can understand why we are so enthusiastic about coming here. The welcome we have gotten has been amazing. My thanks to Dr. Fernandez for all the work he did over these many, many months as we worked to get our group here, to Dr. Bailey and to Chancellor Figueroa for their help in this process. The UT system really has been so incredibly welcoming and so enthusiastic about the vision that we proposed for the development of the South Texas Diabetes and Obesity Institute that I'm sure you can understand why we are so very excited about this move. My colleagues and I are just delighted that our move to this new stage of our careers and to this new stage of our research programs is becoming a reality starting this week. We feel this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to become involved with a brand new medical school and to focus our research in a way that it can have a very positive impact on the local community, in addition to having an impact on some of the most pressing public health issues facing the nation today. As was mentioned, the Rio Grande Valley is an area where diabetes, obesity, and associated health issues are reaching crisis levels. Basic research is a very long-term effort in which it may take many years to achieve the ultimate goal of developing new drugs and treatments for disease. However, discoveries occur all along the research process that can help improve clinical care and can improve our understanding of the biological pathways that underlie major public health problems such as diabetes and obesity. The focus of our group is on genetic studies of obesity and diabetes, and we do this through studies of large extended families so that we can identify genes that are involved in the causal pathways of these diseases. This opens up a window into the pathophysiology of the disease. So there are many points along the causal pathway where you could intervene and prevent disease. And knowledge of the genes involved along the steps of that pathway may provide novel targets for drug development efforts. Over the past 25 years, we've worked with large extended Mexican-American families in San Antonio, and our goal there was to find genes influencing heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and psychiatric disease. Mexican Americans have a lifetime risk of diabetes of between 25% and 30%, which was the reason why we chose to focus our work on Mexican American families. We have 3,500 wonderful participants in San Antonio who have collaborated with us in our studies over many years, and they have relatives in this region. And so we have a great opportunity to expand those families through new recruiting efforts that we can conduct here. The Valley is a natural place for research on diabetes and obesity, and it's a place where research can have a direct and positive impact on the community. One of the very attractive opportunities associated with our move to the Valley is the chance to do intervention studies that will allow us to look at the genetic basis of differential response to treatment, whether it be behavioral or pharmacological, while simultaneously we can provide health-improving interventions as part of those studies. And fortunately, there are great public health researchers already based here in the Valley through the School of Public Health unit that's in Brownsville that are people who are here, they're on the ground, they're already conducting great studies, and so they will be wonderful collaborators for us to work with in the future. So let me tell you just a little bit about our research group. A total of 20 doctoral level staff and several technical support staff are involved in this move. The team includes individuals who have been pioneers in whole genome sequencing studies that are the great hope for genetic research today. We have extensive experience in translational work focused on drug development, work that we hope will ultimately lead to new drugs, more efficacious drugs for treating diabetes, obesity, and related disorders. Our team covers the full range of skills for the large multidisciplinary studies we conduct, from direct sampling of individuals who participate in our studies to medical assessments of the samples taken from those individuals, to whole genome sequencing, to complex statistical analyses, to characterizing the actual functional consequences of the genes that we identify through our studies. The group also includes leaders in what we call advanced imaging genomics. Our investigators were trailblazers in the use of MRI and other imaging modalities to identify genes, risk factors for depression and even for obesity-related behaviors. This research group, which I'm very proud of, has been highly successful in generating funding. The investigators moving to the Valley collectively have generated over $200 million in funding from the National Institutes of Health since 2000. With the support of the UT system, our research team will establish a number of resources here that will dramatically improve research capabilities in this region. We will be developing a major high-performance computing system dedicated to genetic analysis. We will also develop high-throughput genome sequencing capabilities. We will be developing a novel program on stem cell biology. Our techniques using adult stem cells allow us to generate brain cells, liver cells, and heart cells to conduct studies that cannot be done on a large scale on cells directly biopsied from study volunteers because of the relative inaccessibility of those tissues. The research program in the Valley will also provide numerous opportunities for education and for collaboration with students, postdoctoral fellows, and other investigators from institutions located across this region. We want to build, here in the Valley, a world-class research center focused on diabetes and related disorders in Mexican Americans, as well as on health disparities and minority health issues. And our institute will be focused on both genetic and environmental determinants of disease risk. Most of the research projects we conduct include a healthcare delivery component, which means that our research will be of immediate benefit to the members of the communities in the Rio Grande Valley. However, long term, the genetic discoveries that we make will translate to the development of novel drugs and novel treatments that will ultimately benefit everyone across the U.S. We are very grateful to the UT system for this incredible opportunity to build a major research presence in the Valley. We are really excited about our move here and eager to get started this week. And thank you again to Chancellor Figueroa, to Dean Fernandez, and to President Bailey for all their support and their efforts in getting us here. And so all of us would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
So President Bailey, we're open for questions from the audience?
We are.
Good to see you again.
Good.
Welcome. Would you tell us some of the opportunities you see, particularly for interprofessional research and community practice with your team, please? I know there are many.
We have worked on developing a number of population resources over many, many years, over the last 3 decades, and those provide wonderful opportunities for collaboration for people from UT Brownsville and UTPA and the new UTRGV to come in and bring their unique expertise and apply it to the studies and samples that we have, and to make new discoveries in areas that we're not experts in, but the folks here are. So I think there's just incredible opportunity for collaboration and expanding our research efforts here.
I think it's also useful to point out that this team will have multiple locations across the valley. They will occupy the Louis Colomb building at UT Brownsville. They will be in a public health facility there, but they also will be present in the research building on this campus. We think the proximity to faculty, not only in the medical school, but in the general academic campuses, will be enhanced by that set of relationships. I would also like to point out that, as Dr. Williams-Blangero has indicated, this is a group that has interest in drug development, and ultimately that will have implications in terms of economic development in this region. That is, the kind of research that they do not only will attract research funds, and they have this terrific experience with regard to research funding, but it also will pose opportunities for technology transfer and the economic consequences that might result from that.
And I think if I could add to what Dr. Shine and Dr. Williams-Blangero just said to answer Dr. Renaud's question, I think you also have to realize that along the same sort of hubs that we're describing academically and so on, there's also the healthcare system, and that there'll be enormous collaborative opportunities as well with the clinicians and the excellent disciplines that they represent as well.
And I think
I actually have a question for Dr. Reyes. And Pedro, you've been involved in education, and we know that education is not just one silo. It's not just medical school. It's not just college. It's not just community college. And it's not just K through 12. How does bringing such a scientific group to the Valley impact the spectrum of education?
Thank you, Chancellor, for putting me on the spot. Not unexpected, though. No, I just want to, I'll answer the question, but I want to welcome Sarah. They bring this incredible group of scientists and clinical folks, not only in the biological, what is it, Chancellor, metabiology or metabolic biology, but also in the computational sciences as well. But to me, one of the unintended consequences is that I hope they will serve as an inspiration for our kids in third grade and fourth grade and fifth grade. And then they start thinking about being geneticists, start thinking about scientists. And I think that's going to happen just by the fact that they will be here and studying families and talking to children as well. And to me, that would be, or that is an amazing opportunity, Sarah. And I think that just like we did it with engineering, SpaceX, and other activities, we want kids to start thinking, dreaming about the future, their future, and to be future geneticists, just like Sarah or like some of the members of her team. So the future is bright and it's beautiful. I mean, for the valley, for the kids of the kids in the valley, as well as for undergraduates here, Abidan. I mean, there is incredible opportunities here to do research, actual real research, and connecting with this team. I think that you will see a lot of students who will embrace this possibility for the future. So thank you, Chancellor.
I do want to pick up on Dean Fernandez's comments by reminding you that in terms of the research spectrum, Doctors Hospital Renaissance has a relationship with the Joslin Clinic for clinical trials, and Dr. Williams-Blangero has met with some of those folks. We anticipate that there are going to be, as Dean Fernandez says, a variety of interactions with the clinical programs to do clinical research in a variety of areas in the community.
Dr. Blangero, hi, I'm Cecile Debate. I'm here with my husband David as a member of the community whose family is affected by type 2 diabetes. My grandmother and our brother have type 2 diabetes. So thank you for being here. This really is just so awesome that you're here. But I happen to work for Merck and Company promoting sitagliptin, Januvia, for patients with type 2 diabetes. And I just wonder if you'll have an opportunity to work with pharmaceutical companies from research and drug development from A to Z, if you can comment on that.
Yeah, so our studies are designed to understand the genetic determinants of common complex diseases, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and what knowing the genes involved in disease tells you is targets for drug development efforts. So target identification is what we do. It's something that we're extremely interested in and something we really want to pursue and move to the pharmaceutical company. We have worked with pharmaceutical companies in the past very productively in target identification, and yes, that's something we definitely want to continue down here.
Hi, thank you so much to everyone here for this wonderful opportunity. And I just wanted to let you know that we just finished with our Hispanic Engineering, Science, and Technology Week. And I can already see, I mean, we had like 30,000 people here on campus learning about science and technology. And what a wonderful thing that I'm sure that you're going to be part of HESTEC next year. And it'll just be awesome to see children and parents and all their extended families listening to this important information. And I just want to welcome you to campus.
Science is really exciting these days, and so I think we have tremendous things to share with the community and to get kids involved in science. It's a great time in history for children to be involved in science.
Okay. All right.
I just want to say, how many of you have seen a documentary called Diabetesville? One person? So for those of you that haven't, okay, there's a new battle cry that we will have with this recruitment. So that documentary says to the rest of the United States, do not be as sick as the Rio Grande Valley by 2030. So the new battle cry, and you might as well start working on that documentary now, is be as healthy as you can be, like in the Rio Grande Valley. So help us make that happen.